Chosen one, listen closely. This message is a clear instruction delivered in calm terms. Hold your words, resist the urge to explain, and allow quiet to do part of the work. The guidance is not about weakness or retreat. It is about timing, discipline, and trust. You are being asked to pause because a result is forming that will answer questions more effectively than any rebuttal could. The push to react is real. Some of it comes from critics, some from people who misunderstand you, and some from the pressure to be seen as strong. Yet the instruction stands: do not react. Your restraint is not about shrinking. It is about protecting what is still being prepared. There are seasons when silence has more influence than argument. This is one of those seasons. The calm you choose now is not passive. It is strategic. It places a boundary around what is delicate and prevents unnecessary noise from disturbing a process that is already in motion. When everything in you wants to speak, remember that silence is often the most reliable indicator of confidence. You are not trying to win a debate. You are allowing outcomes to do the speaking for you. The value of quiet is often underestimated. In busy spaces, the demand to communicate is constant. Explain your choices, defend your record, clarify your intentions. Yet many breakthroughs collapse under the weight of premature words. Some projects fail because their early stages are exposed to audiences not ready to understand them. Some relationships strain because private matters are narrated publicly. Some opportunities close because sensitive details reach the wrong ears. Silence avoids these traps. It is an environment where growth takes place without premature scrutiny. The instruction to stay quiet is not intended to dismiss your feelings. It acknowledges them, but it does not let them lead. Reactions driven by frustration often create problems that did not exist. A reply sent in haste can turn a small conflict into a long distraction. A public defense can invite arguments that consume time and energy. The alternative is steady restraint. By choosing quiet, you hold your ground without feeding the noise around you. You demonstrate that your focus is on the result, not the argument. There is also a practical side to silence. It sharpens attention. When you speak less, you hear more, both from the world around you and from your own inner compass. You notice patterns that were easy to miss. You register opportunities that arrive in subtle ways. You sense when to move and when to wait. Many people miss their moment because they are busy explaining their preparation rather than completing it. Your quiet reduces that risk. You are present, observant, and ready. Consider this season as a protective layer over a developing promise. Some things do not tolerate constant handling. Seeds do not sprout under bright lights and noise. They break open beneath the surface. The same is true of your next step. It needs cover before it needs applause. Not everyone requires a briefing on what is taking shape inside you, and not everyone will understand it. That is not a failure of communication. It is a fact of growth. Let maturity carry you through the temptation to announce what is not yet ready. Your words are tools. Used well, they build. Used carelessly, they can delay or damage. The tendency to narrate every stage, to post every plan, to answer every critic, to justify every move, can work against you. There is freedom in allowing your work to be the explanation. There is strength in letting your results be the response. This is not about secrecy for its own sake. It is about stewardship of timing. Some doors will open precisely because you were quiet enough to hear the instruction attached to them. In the quiet, you will discover that patience is not inactivity. It is focused trust. Many assume patience means waiting without motion. In reality, patience is a disciplined kind of movement. You continue preparing, building, and refining. You make decisions without broadcasting them. You take steps without narration. You move at a pace that respects the weight of what you are carrying. The loudest evidence of progress may come later, but the foundations are being poured now. There is an emotional dimension as well. Provocation tests restraint. When you are misread or misrepresented, the impulse to correct can feel urgent. But not every push deserves your energy. Some provocations are designed to draw you off course. If you do not answer them, they cannot dictate your direction. Criticism loses power when it meets a grounded, non-reactive spirit. You are not ignoring injustice. You are choosing a response that does not compromise your focus or invite further conflict. Quiet can be a strong boundary. You will not be baited into side battles while the main work is underway. Silence also creates space for clarity. Noise blurs lines, multiplies opinions, and makes decision-making harder. Quiet condenses the signal. It becomes easier to separate genuine insight from passing reaction. You may realize that some questions answer themselves with time. You may recognize that certain conversations do not require your participation. You may see that some outcomes will say more than any statement could. The ability to choose when to speak and when to remain quiet is part of emotional intelligence and spiritual maturity. There is a precedent for measured stillness before decisive action. Before large endeavors, wise people frequently withdraw, sometimes briefly, to gather strength and align direction. The pattern is simple: pull back, listen, plan, and then move. Your version of that pattern may look like saying less in meetings where you once felt compelled to say more. It may look like writing more in private, preparing documents and strategies, while speaking less in public. It may look like choosing one-on-one conversations over group threads. It may also look like letting questions hang without immediate replies, trusting that an informed answer after reflection is better than a fast answer that adds confusion. When outcomes depend heavily on timing, silence becomes a shield. Sharing a plan too early can attract interference. Discussing a fragile opportunity with people who have not earned your trust can invite subtle resistance. Even well-meaning voices can complicate a delicate process with excessive advice or misplaced urgency. Your quiet keeps the process clean. You can still consult a small, trusted circle for perspective, but you do not broadcast what is better handled with care. The aim is not to hide. It is to protect what requires careful handling. There is also the matter of dignity. You are not obligated to explain your every move to people who are not stakeholders in your journey. You can be courteous without being transparent about matters that are still forming. You can be respectful without inviting scrutiny into sensitive transitions. You can decline to participate in conversations that do not serve your mission. Silence communicates boundaries without argument. It is a calm way of saying, "I will not be pulled into dynamics that do not align with my assignment." Your quiet will be misunderstood by some. People accustomed to quick responses may call it avoidance. People invested in conflict may label it weakness. Neither judgment defines you. In many fields, creative, professional, personal, those who learn to pause, listen, and choose their words carefully are more effective over time. They conserve energy for the work that matters. They reduce the number of messes they need to clean up. They avoid turning temporary friction into lasting fractures. By holding your peace, you are choosing long-term influence over short-term satisfaction. This instruction to remain silent does not mean you never speak. It means you speak on purpose. When the time comes to present, you present clearly. When the moment arrives to answer, you answer with precision. When a door opens, you walk through it prepared, not rushed. Silence is the preparation. Speech is the delivery. The balance makes both stronger. If you are tempted to speak now, ask whether your words would advance the process or simply relieve momentary pressure. If the answer is the latter, consider waiting. Relief and progress are not always the same. There will be practical markers that show this approach is working. Conversations that used to spiral will lose their pull. People who were eager to draw you into conflict will tire of one-sided efforts. Projects that required constant explanation will quietly gather momentum. Emails sent in haste will be replaced with measured updates sent at the right time. Even your body will register the difference. Less adrenaline, steadier breathing, clearer sleep. Silence reduces the stress that comes from trying to manage others' perceptions. You begin to live more by design and less by reaction. You may also notice that insight increases. Ideas will arrive in a form that is immediately usable because you created space to receive them. You will connect dots that were previously scattered. You will see patterns in feedback that help refine your approach. You will identify which invitations to accept and which to decline. Quiet is not empty, it is informative. It gathers what you need and filters what you do not. Discretion is part of this. Not every positive development requires a public update. Early progress is often best kept within the team that is responsible for it. Let milestones accumulate. Let results gather weight. When the time comes to share, you will present a complete picture rather than a string of partial announcements. This protects you from unnecessary commentary and allows others to engage your work at a meaningful stage. It is also appropriate to review how your words have functioned in the past. Were there moments when a quick reply complicated a simple situation? Were there times when announcing a plan too early drew opposition or confusion? Were there seasons when venting publicly undermined your own confidence later? This is not about self-criticism. It is about learning. If speaking early did not serve you then, it likely will not serve you now. The course correction is straightforward. Say less, do more, reveal later. Silence can serve relationships too. Not every disagreement requires an immediate response. Sometimes allowing time to pass reduces tension and invites better conversations. Sometimes a thoughtful note sent tomorrow is more constructive than a pointed remark sent today. Sometimes choosing not to respond to a provocation prevents an unnecessary escalation. You can still establish boundaries and address issues, but you do so with clarity rather than heat. The aim is resolution, not victory in a debate. The discipline to stay quiet when pressed will be tested. You may receive messages that demand answers. You may encounter gossip framed as concern. You may be asked to defend decisions that are still in process. In each case, you are free to pause. You can say, "I'm considering this and will respond when I'm ready," or simply not respond until the appropriate time. This is not evasion. It is responsible communication. You respect your own timeline and the integrity of the work. This season of quiet is also a shield against self-sabotage. The enemy of progress does not always arrive as a dramatic threat. It often appears as an impulse to talk before thinking. When you let irritation or ego speak, you give away leverage. When you share sensitive information loosely, you give others tools to misinterpret. When you argue in public, you invite an audience to shape a narrative that should have remained in your hands. Silence closes these entry points. It keeps your project inside its proper frame. Think of your focus as a limited resource. Every unnecessary argument spends some of it. Every prolonged explanation spends more. Every response to provocation drains the reserves you need for real work. Silence helps you budget your attention. You set priorities each morning and align your communication to support them. If a conversation does not move those priorities forward, you let it pass. If a message can wait, you let it wait. If a reaction would distract, you choose restraint. Over time, this produces compounding benefits. Clearer days, fewer detours, better results. You are not the first person to be asked to wait quietly while a plan unfolds. History, leadership, and faith traditions all include moments when the wise response was to say less and do more. Large transitions often begin in quiet. Strategic shifts are drafted before they are announced. The internal work dictates the external pace. You are in such a moment. The call is simple. Make room for what is arriving by limiting what is not essential. There will come a point when the silence ends because the work is ready to speak. When that moment comes, there will be little to defend. Results travel well on their own. Those who doubted will adjust to what is in front of them. Those who understood will celebrate. Those who were waiting for explanation will receive it in the form of a finished product, a completed assignment, or a measured message that carries the weight of preparation. Until then, you are not withholding. You are stewarding. Trust is central. You are trusting that the progress you cannot yet display is real. You are trusting that the opportunities forming out of sight will arrive when you are ready. You are trusting that restraint now will prevent regret later. This trust is active. It keeps working, reading, planning, refining, and resting. It chooses quiet not out of fear, but out of confidence that the process works. If it helps, view the present instruction as a short-term contract with yourself. For a defined stretch, you will keep your words measured, your updates minimal, and your focus high. You will decline the invitation to engage less important conflicts. You will let your preparation accumulate. You will communicate clearly with those who need to know and remain quiet with those who do not. You will track progress privately and release information intentionally. At the end of that period, you will be in a better position to speak because you will have more to say. None of this erases the importance of healthy communication in your closest relationships or your professional responsibilities. Silence here is not isolation or secrecy with those who rely on you. It is a refusal to feed noise that does not build anything. It is a commitment to thoughtful speech. It is an agreement to let your actions develop enough weight that your words do not have to carry everything alone. You are capable of this. The impulse to answer quickly can be retrained. The habit of over-explaining can be replaced with concise updates and timely reports. The reflex to push back can be changed into a pause for perspective. You will not be perfect at it immediately, and that is fine. Progress is measured by fewer unhelpful responses and more deliberate ones. As this season unfolds, you will notice that some doors open without you forcing them. You will receive invitations that match your readiness. You will find that the people who matter most to your next step respect your quiet because they recognize it as focus, not avoidance. You will also find that some pressures fade because they depended on your participation to stay alive. Without your reply, they run out of fuel. Keep your posture steady. You are not hiding from responsibility. You are protecting momentum. You are not ignoring problems. You are solving them without turning them into spectacles. You are not stifling your voice. You are reserving it for moments when it will carry the most weight. The coming results will speak for you. Let them mature without needless commentary. If you need a simple line to carry with you, let it be this: speak when it builds. Stay quiet when it merely relieves. Building requires clarity, timing, and care. Relief is fleeting and often costly. Choose the one that moves you forward. This is where we pause for now. The instruction remains the same: measured words, quiet progress, deliberate timing. When we continue, we will look at how to apply this approach in specific areas: work, relationships, decision-making, and public presence, so that your silence does not become confusion, but a clear signal of strength that supports everything you are building next. Chosen one, let's continue. We ended part 1 with the foundation. Silence as a deliberate posture of strength, not weakness. Now we move into the practical side, how silence operates in specific areas of life, and how it becomes not just an instruction, but a long-term skill. This is where the discipline moves from principle to practice. The call is the same: say less, focus more, and allow results to do the speaking. In your work, silence has a measurable role. Meetings, emails, negotiations, and project updates all invite words, but not every invitation deserves acceptance. The ability to listen carefully and speak briefly can position you as steady and credible. In meetings, the quiet observer often becomes the person whose words carry the most weight when they finally speak. They do not compete for airtime, they contribute clarity. In negotiations, silence can be a tactic, allowing the other side to reveal more than they intended. In project updates, concise reports framed around outcomes rather than explanations demonstrate competence. The thread across all of these is this: silence saves energy and directs attention toward essentials. In relationships, silence functions as a stabilizer. Not every argument requires an immediate answer. Not every misunderstanding must be corrected in the moment. Pausing reduces escalation. Listening creates space for empathy. Waiting before responding often reveals that some issues do not need responses at all. Silence also prevents unnecessary disclosure. There are aspects of your private growth that do not require public narration. There are hopes and plans better shared when they have matured enough to withstand scrutiny. Protecting sensitive matters through quiet is not secrecy, it is stewardship. It gives your relationships the chance to experience your growth through actions rather than premature announcements. Decision-making benefits equally from silence. Choices often appear urgent when they are not. Urgency is a pressure tactic, not a timeline. By refusing to be rushed, you create space to review facts, consider options, and align with principles. Silence in this context is not only the absence of speech, but the refusal to be stampeded by noise. A decision reached after quiet consideration is usually stronger than one reached in reaction. The pause filters out external pressure and leaves you with internal clarity. Even when the choice remains difficult, the calm that comes from silence equips you to own the outcome without regret. Your public presence, whether on digital platforms, in communities, or in leadership roles, also requires measured quiet. In a world that rewards constant commentary, restraint stands out. Not every development requires your public opinion. Not every criticism deserves your reply. Not every compliment needs amplification. By choosing when to speak, you protect your credibility. By withholding speech until it is needed, you ensure that when you do speak, people listen. Silence keeps you from diluting your influence. It avoids entangling you in conflicts that do not serve your mission. It prevents your energy from being consumed by cycles of debate that never produce resolution. Consider the link between silence and timing. A premature announcement can close doors that would have opened if you had waited. Early disclosure can trigger jealousy, resistance, or unnecessary commentary. Even well-intentioned people can complicate matters with unsolicited advice. By staying quiet until the right moment, you protect the process. Timing is not just about when something happens. It is also about when you reveal it. Silence is the envelope that delivers timing intact. Speak too early and you risk damaging what is still fragile. Stay quiet long enough and you allow strength to develop before exposure. This applies to opportunities as well. Many breakthroughs arrive quietly. They come not in loud announcements, but in subtle signals. A chance conversation, a passing suggestion, an overlooked email. These are easily missed when your life is filled with constant talking. Silence heightens awareness. It sharpens perception. It allows you to catch what others overlook. Some doors only open for those who are listening rather than speaking. By maintaining quiet, you place yourself among the attentive, ready to move when the moment arrives. There is also a protective element in silence. Your words can be used against you. A statement made in frustration can be repeated without context. A comment shared casually can be reshaped into criticism. A disclosure made in confidence can travel further than intended. Silence closes these gaps. When you speak less, there is less to twist. When you hold back, there is less to exploit. Silence is not only a personal discipline, it is also a shield against distortion. It keeps your integrity intact by reducing the material available for misrepresentation. Emotionally, silence is an anchor. Anger often seeks expression through words. Fear often pushes for reassurance through explanation. Anxiety often tries to manage outcomes through over-talking. Yet silence interrupts these impulses. By choosing quiet, you prevent emotions from driving the narrative. You allow them to pass without leaving permanent marks. You demonstrate that your decisions are guided by principle rather than reaction. Over time, this builds emotional resilience. People recognize that you are not easily provoked, not easily baited, not easily swayed. Your calm becomes part of your identity. Silence does not mean absence of faith. It is often its strongest expression. To remain quiet is to say, without words, I trust the process more than I trust my impulse. I trust the timing more than I trust my urgency. It is a statement that belief can carry you through without constant verbal reinforcement. The most enduring forms of faith are not always loud. They are steady, consistent, and quiet. They remain in place when noise rises and fall when it subsides. This kind of faith communicates strength without speeches. History and tradition support this idea. Great leaders withdrew before major decisions. Movements that changed societies often started in quiet planning before public action. In personal lives, transformations often begin in silent reflection before visible change. The principle repeats: silence before significance. By honoring that pattern, you align with a rhythm larger than yourself. You participate in the order that turns preparation into manifestation. Practical application helps reinforce the discipline. Begin your day in quiet, even briefly. Let the first words you hear and speak be chosen, not random. Reduce unnecessary explanations in your messages. Write what is needed, not what relieves anxiety. In disagreements, allow space before replying. In opportunities, consider timing before announcing. In criticism, decide whether silence communicates more strength than defense. Small adjustments accumulate into a lifestyle of deliberate speech. Over time, this becomes natural. You no longer feel the urge to fill every silence. You see it as space where strength resides. Understand that this practice will be tested. You may be misunderstood. People may accuse you of arrogance, avoidance, or weakness. But the measure is not their interpretation. It is the outcome of your choices. If silence leads to clearer decisions, healthier emotions, stronger opportunities, and preserved energy, then it is working. If it protects you from unnecessary battles and positions you for meaningful ones, then it is serving its purpose. Not all criticism deserves correction. Some criticism is confirmation that you are on the right path. As you refine this practice, you will notice a shift in authority. Your words will carry more weight because they are not diluted by excess. People will listen more closely because you do not compete for attention. Your influence will expand because it is rooted in steadiness. Silence will have become more than a temporary instruction. It will be a character trait. It will mark you as disciplined, trustworthy, and resilient. What began as a command, stay silent, becomes a strategy, then a habit, and finally, a mark of identity. You are no longer simply avoiding words. You are directing them. You are no longer holding your tongue out of necessity. You are shaping your environment through choice. Silence stops being reactive and becomes proactive. It is no longer just a shield. It is also a tool for building. And in that transition, you step into maturity. The reward for this discipline is not only protection, it is elevation. When your results arrive, when the work matures, when the opportunities become visible, you will not need to defend them. They will stand as their own explanation. The same people who questioned your quiet will recognize the wisdom behind it. The same voices that urged you to speak will acknowledge the strength of your silence. Your life will speak in ways that words never could. Hold this posture as you move forward. Quiet is not emptiness, it is preparation. Silence is not weakness, it is strategy. Your restraint is not avoidance, it is alignment. And when the time comes, the voice that matters most, the outcome itself, will speak on your behalf. Until then, keep your peace. It is your shield, your strategy, and your strength. Chosen one, as we close this message, remember the central instruction. Silence is not a gap to be filled. It is a position of strength to be held. Your words are valuable, but their value increases when they are measured. In a world that urges constant reaction, your quiet becomes a rare and powerful testimony. It signals trust, focus, and readiness for what is ahead. This season of restraint is not wasted. It is shaping you into someone who can carry weight without cracking, someone who can move through criticism without losing direction, someone who knows when to speak and when to let outcomes speak for themselves. You are learning that silence can be a shield against provocation, a strategy for timing, and a safeguard for the sacred. These lessons are not temporary. They will serve you in every area of your life: work, relationships, and spiritual growth. When the time arrives for you to act, you will act with clarity. When the time comes for you to speak, your words will carry authority. And when the results appear, they will testify more powerfully than any defense you could have offered. Those who misunderstood your quiet will see your progress. Those who questioned your restraint will recognize your wisdom. You will not need to justify yourself, because your life will be the proof. So walk forward with calm resolve. Hold your peace when provoked. Guard your progress with discretion. Allow silence to do its work in you, and let the results speak at the appointed time. This is not the end of your story. It is the preparation for the next chapter, one that will unfold with strength, clarity, and undeniable purpose. If this message resonates with you, take a moment to reflect on where silence can become your strength. Share your thoughts in the comments, subscribe to stay connected with more insights, and carry this reminder with you. Your silence today is not emptiness. It is alignment, it is trust, and it is the foundation for breakthroughs yet to come.